You hear the latest then? How those Sigmarite witch hunters just rode into a village and burned every last person. For why? Harder than a mutant. I thought mutants didn't exist anymore. Isn't that what the Emperor literally just said? So what sort of justice was this then? And how come we need Sigmarites to come into our lands and deal with our problems? I tell you, I'm starting to reckon those rumours are true about the Emperor being ill. I reckon he's on his way out. By more, he might already even be dead and gone. These are dark times, friend. I reckon those fancy nobles in Altdorf have decided they want more land, and they want to deal with folks like us who disagree with them when it comes to Sigmar and Ulrich. We all know Ulrich's the true high god, but they've always liked to put it the other way around, haven't they? Nah, I reckon war could be on the horizon. I'll tell you this, they come round here, try and take what's ours. Well, I think they'll be bloody surprised how many of us are willing to die for what is ours. Midland is our home, and it always will be. This is Red Moon Roleplaying. The situation is dire indeed. After falling asleep and assuming yourselves to be safe, it seems the complete opposite. All three of you have awoken to find yourself surrounded by foes, 7 in total, most of them around your dear friend Kruger, but a couple are dotted around the room as well. Near you, Kruger, is 1. Siegfried, there's 1 as well, standing by your beds, and the other 5 are all around the bed where your dear friend Kruger is sleeping. But, luckily, Heinrich and Siegfried, you have managed to wake, and as you wake, you do notice that currently attention is not on you. But as violence begins, it is actually Kruger's turn first. Now, Kruger, this fear, it seems to be overpowering you, but I will at this point remind you, if you wish, you can spend a point of resolve to ignore the fear for a round and act normally with no penalties, if you wish.
Well, I have to do that. This is a situation that I might not survive otherwise. So, yes, I will spend a point of resolve then to overcome this very natural fear for what I'm facing.
Indeed, it's not so much the danger to your life, it's this woman's face. Is she a demon? Can you fight a demon? You don't know.
And as soon as I can, if I am able to move here without them immediately shooting me, can I do that? Or do they have their weapons pointed at me? Is this one of those situations where you just have to stay as still as possible, or what?
2 people have crossbows on you, the other 2 further away have axes, but you do notice a stirring from your friends, so maybe you're not completely alone. But yes, what's your first action? You have 5 foes, the closest, of course, being this woman. There is also, of course, the room itself. It's a nice, luxurious room with beds, a window, and, of course, the door they came in through.
I'll just yell then loudly, "We're under attack!" And then I'll just try to jump and get cover behind a bed or something, because those crossbow bolts are going to come flying directly for me.
Very well, then. You'll spend your move to dive up and over the bed and get behind it. Immediately there is movement. Your foes do seem concerned, but it does seem as if the stirring of your other friend divides their attention. The woman screeches out, "Oh, Lieberung, I'm going to enjoy killing you!" And then it is her turn. But it seems that she is distracted. She looks over to you, Heinrich, noticing you begin to try moving. She frowns and raises her hand, and she casts a spell. Suddenly, the bed around you, Heinrich, comes to life. Strange purple shadows begin wrapping around your arms and legs. You have become entangled, which means you can't move, and tests will be at a -10 until you get rid of this with an opposed strength roll to break out of this entanglement. This is not good. It is your turn. Everything's happening all at once, and just as you were about, Heinrich, to try and reach for something, you suddenly find yourself in your bed being held down by strange black tendrils. If you wish to get rid of this, it will be an opposed strength check. Would you like to try and get out of this situation?
I absolutely would. Imagine the face that Heinrich makes as he goes to do the one thing he is good at, which is commit violence on behalf of his friends, and then just the tentacly shadow bit reaching up around his hand right as it's reaching out to grab for the sword. I will roll my strength. Off the bat, I've rolled a 44 over my 37, but this is urgent and I don't want to critically fail my escape confinement roll, so I'll spend a point of resilience to turn that into 11 and critically succeed.
Tell us, Heinrich, how you managed to, using your pure resilience, break out of this strange spell you're under.
We've established that there are only two things in the world that Heinrich cares about above the base level, and one is this newfound zeal, the sense that chaos is the putrid thing that, well, of course the books all say it's rotting the core of the Empire, of course, but Heinrich has seen it firsthand, and also the only reason he has survived beyond the ego and audacity that he came into this adventure with is the fact that Siegfrieda and Kruger have been on this journey with him. So when the opportunity arises to both defend his compatriots and stand against chaos, that is something that he cannot fail. The core of his being says that will not fail.
And with that brave show, I'm even going to say, as you spent a point of resilience, that maybe that is enough to roll down the bed and grab your two guns and have a turn as normal. Keeping in mind there is one foe right in front of you, one foe near Siegfrieda, and the other 5 near, well, your friend Kruger, who has jumped behind his bed, it seems. So what do? It's your turn.
I have a feeling I'm about to attract a lot of that 5-person attention, because the person... How big is the room?
It's quite a luxurious room, 3 beds and there's space between them, so 5 people around Kruger's bed aren't like in your face. There's at least a good bit of distance. Well, guy right next to you is in your face, but does seem a little startled by your sudden awakening, and their crossbow actually will be a little hard to fire at close range, you know.
Are they within 2 meters?
Yes.
Then this is going to be a good day. I am ambidextrous, so I can attack without a penalty, and at this range, my pistol gets a plus 40 to its attack rolls. I will be making 3 loud noises in very rapid succession. The first being a classically Heinrich, not planned and kind of clumsy quip, and then 2 gunshot wounds. So what everyone hears is, "Ugh, you bastards again." And then I'm going to shoot the one closest to me, and I'm going to shoot the one hovering near Siegfrieda.
Very well then. So, make your roll first. Because the way it works is you make your 1 attack roll, and then your second attack is the reverse of the dice roll.
Indeed. I have rolled a 35. My ballistic skill at this range is 79, so I hit with a 35, and then I hit with a 53. This weapon does not do damage based on success levels.
Very well then, you aim, you fire. How much damage do you do with both these hits?
That's 12.
You aim, you fire. Your bullets go off as you manage to stand there, aiming first at the one right next to you, and then the one near Siegfrieda. Both of them fall to the ground, screaming in agony. The one in front of you is hit straight in the chest and falls back with a gurgle, although he doesn't quite fall down dead. Meanwhile, the one near Siegfrieda is caught in the arm and sort of twirls around on the spot, dropping their weapon. That's the end of your turn. Siegfrieda, it's your turn. One of the foes right near you suddenly twirls in the air, having been badly shot in the arm. What do you do?
And you say he's right near me?
Yes, that one's right near you. And then the next one would be near Heinrich, and then all the other people are you're the furthest away from the foes at this point in time.
In that case, I mean, while it would certainly make some sense to go for the crossbow, I'm not all that confident in my ability with it, especially to use it and then reload it. If this person who's been shot in the arm, they're obviously not dead. They've only been shot in the arm. They're not looking at me, are they?
No.
So in that case, I will grab my dagger and stab the bastard while they're twirling. Stop their spin in mid-rotation.
Indeed. Don't forget, Heinrich, you have now 1 point of advantage. Keep that in mind. And I'm going to let you have a point of advantage as well, Siegfried, due to your earlier critical perception roll and the foe's current condition. So give yourself a +10 to this attack.
Okay, so right now I have failed horribly, but I'm going to spend a point of fortune this early on. I am not fortune, I'm going to spend a resilience this early on. Yes, I'm going to spend a resilience this early on so that I can get up and just cut the person's throat. There's too many combatants in this room, and we need to whittle the number down if we're going to stand a chance of survival. So, jump up pretty much onto this person's back and slice across the jugular.
Well, it is costly at a point of resilience, but a wounded foe, and not an important foe at that, I will allow an instant death blow as you do exactly that and quickly slice their throat. It's now their turn. The one nearest you, Heinrich, does try and get off a shot with the crossbow as they fall to the ground, although it is at a bit of a penalty.
This is my agility to defend, correct?
You cannot dodge crossbow bolts, I'm afraid. Only take hits. As, sadly, even though they were at a penalty, they do manage to get an attack off, for hitting you for 10 damage.
Yeah, not wearing any armor, I will only reduce that by 4.
Indeed, it's very irritating how they manage to just get a shot off even though they fall into the ground and their crossbow is swaying around a little. But they did manage to get some distance, ironically, from you shooting them to the ground. Near you, Kruger, the remaining 2 crossbowters try their best to get into cover as well, yelling at each other and trying to get a shot off at you, but you have dived into cover, which does mean it's a bit trickier for them. And you feel the heat and the tension as 2 crossbow bolts fly straight over your head. Well, 1 straight over your head, 1 into the very bed itself. You can see it sticking out a little, but luckily your cover is helping. At that, you hear the woman call out something, you're not sure what it is, and 2 of the other individuals begin exiting the room for some reason. It's your turn again. Kruger, it seems the situation is changing, although it's still very deadly, and you are aware that at least Heinrich has been shot. What do? Your weapons are now by your side, by the bed.
Then I'll reach for my crossbow, and if I can make it ready to fire, then I will do just that. And the one I have in mind to try to, well, damage is the woman who was speaking to me. If you take out the leader, then the others might end up fleeing like rats.
Make your attack. No advantage for you, though.
That is 2 degrees of success.
Wonderful. How much damage is that?
The crossbow deals 9 damage.
Plus the success levels, 9, 10, 11 damage.
Yes.
Very good. You quickly dart up from behind the bed, aim your crossbow, fire straight into this woman. She screeches in anger as she flails back a little. She then looks around and attempts to run across the bed and stab you with her knife. And as she does so, coming around the side of the bed, darting under your crossbow, she aims to plunge her dagger directly into your neck. You take 11 damage. Keep in mind to subtract toughness from that, of course. Painful, though. Very painful. And you're aware she's closed the distance, so your crossbow won't be so useful next turn. Heinrich, your turn. You see your friend being assaulted by this woman. She's gone in for melee. The crossbowers are trying to keep some distance. And then, of course, there's the one directly under you, although he is bleeding out quite badly. What do?
No time to reload these weapons. Am I somewhere that I can reach my sword?
Yes.
Then that is what she'll do. Dropping the pistols to the ground, yet as they are smoking. Then immediately picking up the sword. As much as I want to dash across to Kruger, I cannot leave an enemy behind me while I do that. So first things first, I would like to plunge it down into the heart of this bastard who shot me.
Please do.
Oh, yes, that's a 4, which will be well under my weapon skill for 4 success levels.
Total damage?
That is 8 plus 3 is for 11 total.
Well, Heinrich, tell us how you sever this man's arm and finish him off.
Well, just between you and me, I wasn't trying to hit the arm, but I'm going to let everyone else know that I was trying to hit the arm. I was trying to be much cooler, but the circumstances being what they are, I'm guessing that I have the rapier in my hand. You can't grasp it with 2 hands and plunge. It doesn't work quite like that. So I was aiming for a nice little needly jab, right between a rib into the heart or perhaps in the eye. But it turns out, having been shot and not wanting to be stabbed, this man is a little wriggly. And the entire thing comes off as instead a very messy... Sigfrida actually might be able to appreciate in a different context the surgical nature of this blade as it cuts just below the shoulder joint, deep into the muscle on the arm that is holding the crossbow.
And down this opponent goes. Sigfrida, your turn. 2 are dead. 2 others seem to have left the room, and at this point you swear you could hear gunpowder, gunshots, but not from the room, somewhere else. You can also see in the dark a little flicker coming from the windows. Are there torches outside? But no time to focus on that. You've got 2 people in the room still with crossbows trying to find cover, and one of them with a knife successfully stabbing your friend to death. If you wanted to try and move to them, you could do that with a move action.
Yes, I'm going to avoid the need to panic. I've been in situations before, surgical situations before, where calm is required in a state like this, and so the first thing my mind goes to, that man that whose throat I cut, was he carrying a crossbow?
He was.
Excellent. I won't look for my own. I'll pick his up and shoot it at the stabber.
Lovely. Keep in mind, you have 2 advantage now, actually, from your successful attack last time, so you're currently rolling at a plus 20.
Okay. Alright, this time I don't need to spend any resilience in order to get underneath my crossbow rating, which is 29. I get a very nice 9 out of 29. Oh, and of course with the advantage, 9 out of 49.
Ooh, so total damage level, please.
Alright, so the damage from a crossbow is 9, I have it noted as. Okay, well in that case that is 4 success levels, a 13 damage from a crossbow bolt to the person stabbing my friend.
Yes, you aim, you fire, and you hit in the right leg as the woman screeches in agony and collapses to the ground, hitting her head hard, and goes down, it seems, mostly out for the count. At least you hope so. Although just as you're about to try and finish her off, you catch a glimpse of that face as well, and it's so strange. Please roll a willpower check, keeping in mind your plus 20.
Alright, so I'm trying to roll underneath 66, and I just manage it with a 57.
How strange. For a moment you catch this face of this woman. Monstrous. Unnatural. But you blink, and then, well, it's not that unnatural, and she's losing consciousness, and the hair is a bit odd-looking, but it's not on fire. You don't know why you thought that for a moment. It's not on fire at all. No, this is just a normal woman, and you have defeated them, you think to yourself. Still, there are still 2 assailants in the room, but they look confused. They look between the lot of you. They look to the door. They seem to hear the gunshots as well. One of them swears and dives for the window. He opens it quickly and just tries to fall out of it. That might not be very safe for him, but oh well. And the other runs out of the room, and for a moment, it's all over. But it's not. Kruger, you can hear by the window that there's people outside. There's gunfire going off, and there's torches. What do you do, though? You've been stabbed, and you're in your nightwear. Your foe seems taken care of, although they are breathing a little still, so they're not quite dead just yet. But you don't think they'll be getting up anytime soon? Not with that leg wound. What do you do, Kruger?
I'll need to start reloading my crossbow, thinking that this might not be over yet, so that's what I'll do, and I'll try to stay in cover while I'm doing that.
Then you move into cover reload your weapon and get ready. Heinrich, what do you do? All foes are gone. It seems the one on the floor is breathing just a little, but is down. Although, of course, you want to finish them off, you certainly can. But again, what's happening outside the room? You don't know.
I'm going to solve two problems at once. I can find out what's going on outside by chasing one of the people who went outside. Nothing more daring than a man in his sleeping underwear chasing someone with a sword. The more people that we can interrogate, the better. It is also not lost upon me that we're going to have to explain ourselves eventually, and being seen as pursuing someone dangerous might help us there. The gentleman who jumped out the window to the bottom floor, did he make it?
You have no idea. You'd have to go and look.
I can use my move action to that, yeah. Heading towards that window, not bothering to explain myself to my companions. They know me by now. I'm going out this window to see if I can catch this other miscreant.
You go to the window. You do pause, after all, you are one story up, and looking down, you immediately see that the other gentleman has not done well. He's moving along with a broken leg, and... people with horses. At least 3 or 4. You can see just from here, and you can see some others circling around the building. One of them comes up to that man, and takes their pistol out and shoots him in the head.
The people on horses, are we talking like, do they have any kind of like visible sigil? Do they look like Empire Knights or road wardens, anything like that?
You're not sure. They're dressed in hoods, leather weaponry, but they have pistols, that's expensive, and they're surrounding the building in a formation. But other than that, you don't know, not from here. No, they don't seem to have any sigils on them. Although, you suppose... it'd be weird if they were on the same side.
Would be weird if they were on the same side. Would not be weird if there are two different groups of evildoers who wish us harm. That said, can't interrogate that man and don't want to be putting myself in a dangerous situation by jumping into whatever is down there. That being the case, I think our best option would be to keep this person who is here alive. Which is weird that within the span of a week, this is the second time that I have attempted to do life-saving surgery with Siegfrieda. Because that is what I will yell. Communicate the information about what is happening outside. I don't know who's out there, but they're armed, they've got us surrounded. If we're not going to get wrapped up in all of this, we need answers and evidence. Pointing at the woman on the floor.
What do you do, Siegfrieda? The woman on the floor is down, bleeding out, deaf, probably soon. They're probably currently a little unconscious due to the pain. You could easily kill them or save them. You also hear more gunshots on the stairs and the sound of footsteps coming towards the room at a slow pace.
I'll look back to Heinrich. I may be able to save her, but I'm not going to be able to also keep people away from this room while I do so.
I can worry about that. And at this point, yeah, I'll head to the door, and if it's bad news coming through, then I'll take care of it first.
All right. I will rush over to the woman. So where is she injured? I obviously shot her in the leg. She's bashed her head. What else?
She also took a crossbow bolt to the arm.
Okay. So none of these wounds in and of themselves are life-threatening, but when added together are likely to cause someone to die. So let's look at the one in the leg. First of all, just in case I hit an artery.
Yes, and you also quickly check the head and remove your hand very quickly. Where hair should be, instead, there's flesh. Strange strands of purple flesh are upon her head. A mutant.
Yes, I'm going to try my best to not feel utterly revolted and want to put her down. She may still be capable of communicating, so... I'll do my best. So, what skill would you like me to use here?
I'd like you just to roll a heal roll. It's not complicated, you're simply trying to stabilize her. Again, her condition is not terrible.
Well, that is my best skill, but unfortunately I still fail, so I'm going to spend a point of fortune here and re-roll. And, yes, having done so, I'm able to get 40 out of my target number of 63.
You quickly notice you didn't need to remove your crossbow bolt, it went straight through. It was just a case of quickly removing Kruger's one and stemming the blood with some of your bandages. You think you managed to stop her bleeding out. You notice her hand twitching a little, but luckily for you it seems she's unconscious for now. Which is probably good, because you have a feeling if she wasn't unconscious, she'd probably be trying to kill you.
Right, in that case I'm going to have to do something incredibly unorthodox here, realising that there is someone coming to the door who may wish to interrupt, save the day, or something like that. I'm going to try and push her body as gently as possible underneath one of our beds. In case someone comes in and wants to scoop up the dead, then move a trunk so that she is obscured.
Then that is exactly what you do. You quickly boot her under. Meanwhile, Heinrich, what do you do at the door?
At this moment, there's no one trying to kick it down, right?
Nope, there's heavy footsteps right outside. Any time now you think there'll be people at the door. You hear another gunshot go off as well, and another scream of pain from outside.
Then it's very important that we appear like the good guys. So I'm going to throw the door open and start not screaming in a cowardly way, screaming in a confident, announcing way that we're under attack, but we've got them taken care of in here.
You see 4 men and women beginning to ascend the staircase. On the ground, one of your assailants, still alive, but immediately being grabbed and having manacles strapped to his arms. 2 of them spot you, raise rifles, and say, "In the name of the Empire, stand down! Immediately!"
Fucking no question there. I will say, in the interest of not being shot on sight, I would not have taken my sword out the door with me, so I am just a man in his underwear, unarmed, and bleeding.
That you are. Well, then it sounds like you surrender. 2 men come forward with rifles and tell you to get down on the ground. On your knees.
I'm assuming this motion does not go well, based on being, I think, gut shot with a crossbow, but we'll do it.
Luckily for you, as you kneel down on the ground, your wound doesn't seem to be bleeding as badly as it could. Maybe it just caught you. Kruger, you hear from outside your friend Heinrich being told to get down. It sounds like that's what he's doing. 2 people come into the room, rifles raised. One of them looks at you, points it, and says, "You, up! Up! Out here immediately in the name of the Empire!"
And I'll do as they say. I don't have any interest in getting shot, and I put my crossbow down on the bed, and I just do as they say.
And you're heralded outside as well, joining your friend in the hallway before both of you begin being frog-marched down the stairs to the main interior of the inn. Siegfrieda, only you remain. They have now just noticed you, and are saying the same. You notice one of them going to scout the room, getting very close to the bed where you saved that individual. Are you going to try and stop them, or let them find them?
I'll step forward with my wrists together. The bodies are as you see. Take me from here if you need to.
Roll a charm check. -10.
Dead on. Okay, I get a 39 out of 39.
You stop the person, looking. Just in time. There you go. All right, downstairs now.
Do I have time to grab my things?
They look at you and simply say, "No. Downstairs, now, or we shoot."
Looking this person over, how are they dressed? What kind of regalia do they have on?
They are dressed in very fine leather armor. They are carrying an Imperial rifle, which is a very, very expensive weapon. They have good traveling boots and a good cloak.
Okay. Alright, I'll move as suggested and hope that our things don't get stolen while we're out.
And before you know it, all 3 of you have been barreled down the stairs quite roughly. You find yourself being assembled at a table in the middle of the room. You notice there's no one else here except, the innkeeper. You recognize him, Kruger. He is looking at you quite sternly, but he is here. There seem to be at least 10 of these individuals, and, even more, you notice outside there's another 10 surrounding the inn via horseback, seeming to do a patrol. You notice some of your friends all being gathered in a corner. A lot of them seem dead, but 1 or 2 still seem alive. And of course you, Siegfried, are aware that one of them is upstairs, currently snoozing nice and safely, undetected. How are the 3 of you feeling? These people aren't immediately murdering you. That's something, at least. They don't seem very happy with you.
Well, hopefully we will have a chance to explain ourselves. I mean, we're not doing anything bad, really. If they don't, suspect us to be connected with something, then we might just have a chance. It's at least a lot better than the situation we just found ourselves in, so perhaps we've been lucky. I think to myself, trying to retain hope.
Yeah, not being immediately murdered is a step up in terms of our situation, so I'm happy for that. And there's no way that they can see the bodies. We've been killing the same people, right? By the laws of Sigmar, that makes us friends, I think. I hope.
But you, Siegfrieda. Again, maybe you've got a bargaining chip upstairs, or maybe not.
Well, that's the thing. There's already been individuals who escaped, so if they were really interested in getting anyone alive, they had that opportunity. And every time I've tried to negotiate with people, it tends to blow up in my face, so I'm quite happy for Kruger or Heinrich to take this. I'll stay silent, I will look at these guards, and wait to see what they have to say for themselves.
I am expecting someone with a shinier badge than everyone else to start asking pointed questions in the near future, so I don't feel the need to pipe up in my own defense quite yet.
Then you're not waiting long. You also notice Kruger looking at the body count. It looks like 6. So only one's missing. I wonder what happened to that woman. Can't see her in the corpse pile. The prisoner pile. At that point, a woman comes in. Dressed in the same regalia as everyone else, but taking her hood down to reveal a very fashionably tied up bun of hair with a very intricate-looking jade pin in her hair. Seems quite youngish, maybe in her 30s, and seems to be smelling of some sort of... What's that smell? Like a sort of daffodil perfume or something? Very nice. She comes, she sits, with a pistol in her hand, and looks to you, Kruger. Well, Herr Lieberer, I have really been looking forward to meeting you. Luckily for you, I wasn't expecting it here on this night of all nights, so I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm looking very much forward to the answers. I really have wanted to talk to you for a very, very long time. She says this with a smile, but you don't need to roll an insight roll. That underneath the smile is intense hatred.
Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Lady Emmanuel Nacht, Imperial Envoy, and, between you and me, she then quickly reveals a small black skull-like symbol from underneath her clothing. Agent of the Black Chamber. I really have been wanting to talk to you.
I think that you do want to talk to Castor Lieberung, yes.
Indeed I do. So, where to begin? Let's see. What did you do to my man?
What if I told you that I'm not Castor Lieberung? That I just happen to look an awful lot like him?
Oh, well then I'd let you all go, give you some crowns, and hope you enjoy apparently there's a festival in Middenheim happening very soon.
Well, that would be pretty good.
It would, wouldn't it? Oh, you're charming, charming. Where's my man? What did you do with him?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, I really don't. Who is your man?
Adolphus, not ring a bell, man who was scouting you. Bogenhafen, no, nothing at all. Apparently you did a little bit of murdering down there. Murdered what was it? One of the council members or something.
And I'm trying to jog my memory here. Adolphus, that's definitely a name that I remember, right?
It is, yes. You're pretty sure that was a man with a crossbow who really wanted to kill you. You had all his notes.
But I didn't kill him, right? He was killed by someone else, wasn't he?
He was. Just when he was about to arrest you, in fact.
I don't know what to tell you. I didn't kill him, but I did see him die.
Oh, so one of your friends did it. Let's see. Well, she takes out a piece of paper. A Heinrich Shelf. All I have on you is that you're a student for one of the teachers nearby, a wannabe duelist, and, yes, you, Siegfrieda, wanted for questioning in regard to a recent tragic death in this very village, nonetheless.
No, they didn't have anything to do with that. It's the friends of Castor Lieberung, I think.
Your friends. Castor, please. I'm giving you the luxury of a conversation because there are some things that are quite unusual, but if you just keep lying to my face, we're going to have to go and do this in a cell, and Gustav over there is going to have to get out the clamps, and I'm quite tired, so... How about this? What's caused a disturbance in your happy family? It does seem as if some of your fellow bastards aren't very keen on you anymore.
I understand that they want Castor's money. Money that he's supposedly gotten and that they want a cut of. That's what they want.
She looks a little quizzically at you. Yes? The money we of course both know isn't actually reachable by you. You've already not fallen into Adolphus's trap. It's interesting you haven't told them that.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's money I had hoped to get, to be honest.
Yes, I'm sure you did, but unfortunately you won't really need money when you're being hung. But I need you. I need the information that you have before we execute you and your friends. It's over, Lieberung. You failed. The Empire is going to win, and whatever horrible little plans you had are going to fail.
Well, that's good that Castor Lieberung is going to fail. I'm telling you, I'm not him. Do we have... Let's see here. Do we have some evidence that we could present here? We have books and things like that, right?
You have upstairs, well, a lot of the stuff that Adolphus Gustavus had on you. You don't really have any evidence that you are who you say you are, but you do have testimony. That is something. You see her looking at you and saying, "Oh my god, alright, I tell you what, you're going to get your one shot to explain that. Let me guess, you're actually a humble merchant from Marienburg or something. I'm going to give you your one shot to tell me who you really are, and then we'll decide whether it's manacles or, well, a more pleasant chat, Castor. But I am tired, and I'm irritated, and I really, really want to hurt you. It's the least for the crimes you've committed."
I'm Kruger Hoffman. I come from Nuln. We were traveling and, well, came across a carriage that had been attacked by something. Perhaps those things that cannot be talked about. And there was a body there, and it looked exactly like me. And there were papers saying that there was a lot of money to be made for the bearer of that document and the ring. And, well, I wanted money. So I figured maybe I could be Castor Lieberung. I didn't know anything about him, and I understand now that he's not a good person to have taken the identity of.
She stares at you, before then saying, "Go on." And at this point the question is, how much do you go on for, Kruger? How much will you tell? Will you tell her everything that happened in Bogenhafen? Will you tell her everything that happened in Wittgendorf? Or will you withhold some parts, at least for now? You tell us in summary. How much of your story do you actually tell? And do you attempt to involve the others in any way?
Well, I mean, the story of what happened in Wittgendorf isn't really all that crucial, right? The most important thing is what's happened aside from that. So yeah, aside from what happened in Wittgendorf, I think it's just as well to say everything that I know, because otherwise she's going to execute us. There's no way out of this situation, and my story is very, very thin to begin with, and I will at times look at my companions to see if they want to interject with anything.
Will any of you attempt to change his story? It does seem as if he's leaving Wittgendorf out, which makes sense, to be fair. That whole part of your journey simply needs to be we hid low for a week or two on the river, and no more questions need to be asked. It's more the Bogenhafen chapter that seems to be up for grabs. How much of that will you admit to?
I'm not going to interrupt if Kruger isn't incriminating us. There are certain elements of our story that are somewhat shameful. The burning of the donkey, the breaking in places. But people we've murdered or killed in battle have, I would say, 98% of the time been deserving of it. And we never had to flee a place under a cloud, as it were, or very rarely. So no, I think, Wittgendorf aside, because we want that place kept safe. We don't want it purged like all the villages we just passed through. I'm fine with Kruger explaining as best he can the events that have happened so far.
Heinrich?
I agree. If nothing else, stepping in to correct something or say, well, no, that hasn't how it happened would totally undermine the very thin veneer of trust we even have at the moment. So, worst case scenario, we can just say, oh, we didn't think that was important, right? I trust Kruger here.
And what about the person upstairs, Siegfried? As the conversation goes on, for at least 5-10 minutes, you are aware that, well, someone upstairs might be waking up any time now, and it seems everyone else has been captured successfully. Will you say anything, or not?
So it doesn't appear, at least from our sight, from where we are right now, that they found the woman under the bed.
Not yet, no. They seem to be paying full attention to 6 others. It seems out of the 6, only 1 is still alive, and the other 5 are dead.
In that case, I say nothing. If they do somehow find her, she crawled under there for warmth.
And so you tell your story. You leave out Wittgendorf, but otherwise you try and be as forthright about everything that happened in Bogenhafen. And you finish. She looks at you, this woman, very skeptically. Clicks her teeth. Yawns. I'm going to give you 1 point. Kruger. Your story is so utterly ridiculous that, unless you've gone completely mad, it is a very unusual choice of lies. You're saying you randomly found the man I've been hunting for quite some time, dead, decided to take his identity, which, by the way, is a criminal offence worthy of hanging. Then you went to get the money, fell into the trap, which then was something killed my man, and then you decided to stick around and randomly unveil a conspiracy. Rather than, I'll have you know, the official report we got in Bogenhafen was that you were the one who murdered a councilman before fleeing into the night. But you're saying the town was actually hiding a little chaos den. They've been lying to us. You do, of course, at this point remember the story you were told to say in Bogenhafen.
Yes. Exactly, that's what's happened.
It all sounds highly circumstantial. Strip. Take off your clothes. Down to your underwear, please, quickly.
I suppose I'll do just that. It's not as if I have much of a choice.
You do so, stripping to your underclothes. You see a few of the other people in the room raising their weapons, looking at you. This woman does then inspect you. There are ways of covering it, you know. But no, you don't seem to have it. I'm going to go and talk to the friend over there. You better hope they corroborate your story. Also, our report said 7. Sorry, we've scouted. They haven't escaped our patrol. Could they still be in the building somewhere? Was there? How many people attacked you?
I couldn't quite tell. There were so many.
Fine. Irritating. Heinrich, it seems Kruger doesn't remember. You remember there was a woman who was chanting words, but you don't know where they went.
This is an excellent time to lie and say that I know one of them, it was noise and gunfire, but one of them was whispering in a strange language with her hands. I don't know what happened, but she could have escaped that way.
2 of you go and look. Very well then. Alright, I'm going to question this one. You stay here. If you try and run and flee, well, that will invalidate your story. But if you're telling the truth, you're going to sit and wait patiently. Understood?
Can I sit and wait patiently while also having my wounds tended to?
Yes.
I'll look over your wounds, Heinrich.
And so the 3 of you are told to go into a corner where there is somewhere to sit, and it does seem as if you're allowed to tend to your wounds. It also seems that while you're under guard, you are given a little bit of privacy. You could whisper among yourselves and talk among yourselves. What are the 3 of you going to do? She's questioning this one individual. Their leader, for all you know, is upstairs, and Siegfrieda, for all you know, due to your treatment, could very well be limping away into the night. But you've all decided to save this individual.
She'd have to get downstairs and past everyone first.
There was also the window.
Yeah, with an injured leg, I would count her escaping as slim. Nonetheless, I'm going to ask one of the guards if we're still being watched. Would you mind if I head back up to our room? I need to get some of my medical supplies for my companion here.
We're going to come and watch you, but sure. And 2 men make to follow you upstairs as you head back upstairs.
Right. Okay. In that case, I am going to have to do some foolery, because I'm obviously not going to be able to interrogate this person while I've got 2 guards watching, but I can at least check if they are still there. So, entering the room, first things first, is the trunk still obscuring the bedstead?
It is indeed, although it's moved slightly.
Oh dear. Alright, I will now go to the other side of the room, pick up my medical kit bag.
You go and do so. And you see again the 2 people watching from the exit, looking around carefully.
Okay, as I'm going to pretend, I'm not a good actor, I'm going to pretend to be rummaging through the bag as I am walking back toward the door, and woo, wouldn't you know it, I trip over one of the feet of a bed frame, so that I can scatter some things on the floor and get a look under the bed to see if our friend is still underneath there.
They are not, but you see a blood trail near the chest. The chest is quite a large one. Are they hiding in the chest? It's possible.
That is... I shake my head. Well, yeah, remarkable. Does the chest belong to us, or is it this property of this inn?
The property of the inn.
Oh, so there's no lock. No, that's a shame. Alright. For the time being, I'm going to ask the guards. I believe my companion was injured in a sensitive, private area. I gesture at their genitals. For the sake of his dignity, would you mind escorting him up here so that I can examine him in privacy?
There's some talk, but they seem to say yes. They don't seem to actually care. It seems almost as if as long as you're not trying to actually escape, you are being given some clemency, but only for now. As you head back downstairs, you do hear another room. Someone is talking to someone. That woman talking to that man. There's a lot more screaming, though, from his end of the conversation. It seems that you got actually quite a polite interrogation so far.
Alright. So I need to wait for Heinrich to be brought back up here.
Then, yeah, you're able to quickly assemble, being able to be back in this room. There are 3 guards outside now, but as you close the door, you are now alone in this room, other than, of course, for that trunk.
I will quietly explain to Heinrich. They think I'm examining your genitals. Ignore it. We'll move on from that. I will turn around, open the chest.
You open the chest. You're greeted by a hand gesture, but it stops just for a second. The person inside snarls. Careful now, I'm going to fucking set you all on fire, you fucking little shits!
If you shout, they will come in here and they will take you apart at the joints.
You won't get away with this, Lieberung's cronies. Zinch is going to consume your souls, every single one of you.
I was hoping we could have a conversation and find out what's what. I mean, I'm completely in the dark behind most of this. Without the spitting and bile and invoking names of creatures and gods, I do not know.
The woman staggers to stand up a little.
No. I will gently push her back down like a jack-in-the-box. Those guards could come in at any moment. You're best off staying in the box while you talk, and if they come in, I close the box.
What is this? You want to betray Lieberung? Okay, fine. We can make an arrangement. We can give you a lot of money. He needs to die, though. Just so you know. Pretty much needs to die.
Do you think if our friend was actually Caster Lieberung that I would be up here right now talking to you like this, giving you the possibility of survival when there's a damn Inquisition out there waiting to disassemble you? I am explaining to you right now that there has been a gross case of mistaken identity, and while I am sure you are just following orders and you were told to come here from someone else, the fact of the matter is, the person you believe is Castleberung is not. The real Castleberung died months ago. We found his body.
If that were true, then wonderful. That would be lovely news.
I look over at Heinrich. I don't know what to do with this cultist, in honesty. She's clearly addled and dangerous, and who knows, maybe she could immolate us in a fireball, but I don't know what we can really hope to find from her. It seemed like a good idea to capture her for interrogation, but I feel like Kruger is probably the best person, and even then, even he doesn't know that much about Castleberung. It's just an identity he assumed.
I see it's all, yes, a big misunderstanding. You just can let me go then, and I can tell people, and you'll all be free, and...
No, dear. I think what we need to know is, where are the people based, the ones who ordered you to come here, because it would make sense for us to go to them to clear up any of these issues.
I'm not going to fucking tell you that, you idiot.
Okay, well, in that case I will just call out and say, look what I found hiding in this chest.
Make me an intimidation roll. But I'll tell you what, Heinrich, if you wish to assist, you can.
Yeah, I can say that over the course of this, anytime, for the duration of Siegfrieda's interrogation, Heinrich is just making an elaborate show of, like, reloading the pistols, of cleaning the blood off the blade, like, very much laying out the tools of the trade in case things go wrong, right?
Yeah, my intimidate is very poor. What advantage did you say I had?
Well, unfortunately, your advantage from the fight is now gone. You don't save it between fights. However, I will say you have a +10 off the bat just because of the current situation.
I have rolled a 19 under 37, if that helps.
I mean, it might, because I rolled a 56 over 38. I'll spend a fortune, reroll. Yeah, my second roll is even worse. I've now got a 75 over 38. So maybe my words won't do it, but perhaps the fastidiously reloading man behind me will.
It's not you she's afraid of.
You understand, if I tell you somewhere to go, you're going to die when you get there. We'll kill you. You are clearly... I'm confused. Are you not fucking with the Empire? You aren't actually Black Chamber agents yourselves? Why do you want to know where we are if you don't want to stop what we're doing?
Stop raising your voice, or they will have your tongue out with hot tongs. Listen, if we don't go to where you are, you will keep coming for us, so I don't really see the difference.
No, we won't. If he's actually dead, we don't give a fucking toss.
Well, I believe you believe that, but do you honestly think you could convince your leader that that's the case?
I can't. We don't... I am the leader of my cell.
And, well, in that case, I take a somewhat dramatic step back, gesture with my hands. Are we free then? Are you going to keep hounding us? What can we possibly do to actually convince you?
I'd need to have a meeting elicit the Magisters.
So there are people above you?
Yes.
In that case, we would like to meet with them and explain, no matter how utterly insane they may be, we wish to explain to them that this needs to stop.
If nothing else, if we're lying and we walk into your trap, they'll murder us. You get what you wanted the whole time. If they believe us, it's solved. This costs you nothing.
My orders... We have more important things to be thinking about. The Great Change. That's more important than you, fools. I'm thinking. Let me think. I can give you... Okay. All right. The docket and chain in the one of the lower quarters. Fine. Knock on the door. Passwords. Orange. That's a safe house. Meet me there. We'll try and get this sorted out.
The docket and chain, did you say?
Yes.
And the password is orange.
Yes.
Excellent. So I look to Heinrich. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm sure he knows what I'm thinking. Do we now throw her to these Imperial wolves, or do we give her a chance to escape?
Oh, I think we would say something to the effect of, okay, now back into the box, stay here, wait until the guards go, and then immediately let them know, right? Like, we found them, because then we save our skin, we've got what we wanted, right?
But then she might tell them everything she's told us.
She's a crazy cultist. What is it? Yeah, maybe. I could just kill her.
At this point, Heinrich, I'm down to flipping a coin. Back in the treasure chest. Go on, back in the trunk. Back in the trunk. You stay there until the guards are gone, and once they are, we will knock on the chest, give you space to leave under your own steam.
The woman begins to step back, giving you another glance of absolute hatred, and she mutters, "Whatever happens, Zinch will have you. You will pay for this embarrassment."
You have my word that I am not going to throw you to the Empire, and if you cannot show even the slightest bit of gratitude, well, I'll just leave you locked in this box.
Oh, I'll show gratitude. Get down and on your knees and beg Zinch for his glory. Then I'd believe you.
If you weren't valuable to us as a messenger to your magistrates, or whatever they are, then I can only imagine the things we might do with you right now. But please, shut up before you convince me to call these guards. Get in the fucking box.
The woman does. Only because she once again looks at Heinrich's guns. And she does. Puts herself in a box. At this point, there's a knocking on the door. That's enough!
Well, that's a successful circumcision. Heinrich?
Oh, making a show of it. Patched up. I presume at some point we did actually manage to put at least like some kind of bandage over the wound, if nothing else for appearance's sake. I did want to clarify one thing. The crate, chest, is this like a big wooden chest, or is it more like a traveling trunk? What am I working with?
It's a traveling trunk for people to put their luggage and goods in when they come into the room, like their clothes and their boots. Again, one person can fit in there just fine.
Okay. The more important question for my purposes is: are the sides like solid, or are they impalable?
Oh, if you were to get your lovely unbreakable sword and go straight down, you could easily impale it, yes.
Okay, so I can solve this problem. Then, as Siegfrieda is making this noise of, "Oh yeah, we're almost ready to..." Heinrich, I'll make eye contact with Siegfrieda, and then with the sword over the top of the chest, kind of give like the...
Shake head. I gave my word.
Okay. Your word, not mine. But I will proceed accordingly then. Not taking the weapon out with me, obviously that would be remarkably dumb. But then yes, back to the acting of the limping and the being injured. We can exit.
And you were quickly escorted out and back downstairs, where once again you were met by the woman. It's your lucky day, Kruger. According to that man, even though he doesn't know much, of course, the leader would have known more, but she seems to unfortunately have escaped us of this cell. You are very much wanted dead. You apparently are either insane or have betrayed them. Makes your story slightly more credible, I suppose. We are still in a bit of a conundrum, though, all three of you. I'm sure you agree. Out of interest, if it were the other way around, what would you do? Would you just let you go at this point and get on your merry way, no further hassle? Keeping in mind that you may also be lying, part of an extremely dangerous cult that I personally have been hunting for a while, and this could be a wonderful, wonderful bamboozle.
Yes, I would absolutely do that. Yes. I would let us go.
If you let us go, you know that they will continue trying to come for me.
Apparently not, actually. According to him, they want you dead. But he said something about it not being a priority. He didn't know of... If you truly are who you say you are, you'll not actually know how they operate, I suppose.
No. But they have been coming several times for Casterlieberung, so if anyone thinks that I am still him, then they would try and come for me, which would make them visible to you. If you try to keep track of where we're going, then perhaps you will come across some of these cultists and be able to catch them.
What about you, Siegfrieda?
I smile sweetly. Well, I just wish to go back to my room, maybe get what's left of the night as sleep, and then we will head on out of here. We have very little reason to stay.
True. Well, we almost are in accord. But not quite, darlings, I'm afraid. But the good news is I have come up with a wonderful solution that is going to solve all our problems, and if you are true, good Imperial citizens, make you very happy. Welcome to the Black Chamber. You are temporarily being recruited. You are going to assist me in my investigation. How's that sound? Wonderful, yes?
Better than being dead.
That it does. Kruger. What do you say, you two? You can, of course, refuse, and instead we can take you to an Imperial cell. Or, of course, you could happily agree, because good citizens of the Empire would love to assist in hunting down an evil cult.
I am nothing if not a good citizen of the Empire.
Very good. Well, we have some planning to do, but in a nutshell, you're going to help. We are indeed going to do exactly as you said. What was it? Ah, yes, Kruger. You are of the likeness of this man. They want you. Means you might be able to find out what's going on, because something is going on. Especially... Well, look at this cell. 7 of them, just for you, and all the trouble you've been causing. For them to suddenly abandon you, something else is happening, and I want to know what it is. And we've found out some information. It's a shame. Their leader would have had much more. Probably won't find them now, but that's the way they work. The leaders always get away. And besides, it's just one cell. Nothing to say on that account?
We live and die for the Empire.
Well then, barkeep! Oh, if you're wondering how he got here so quickly, you can thank them. They're actually a double agent, believe it or not. Barkeep, fetch them some food, some wine. Going to be a bit longer tonight, I'm afraid, folks, but we have a lot to discuss. I need to brief you if you really are... No offense, I'm not going to use the word dumb, but if the story this one said is true, it sounds like you've actually had no idea what's been going on this entire time. And you will actually need to understand some things if you're to actually successfully investigate the Purple Hand.
I sigh, try not to put my head in my hands, and wait for the food and drink when really what I need is sleep.
How are you feeling, Kruger? Again, you wonder what happened to that leader they keep speaking of, but I guess they got away. But you... Well, you're not dying. If anything, you're being recruited to do an investigation. Does that sound fun to you? Would you rather be anywhere else?
Well, it does seem like a very dangerous position to be in, but these Purple Hand folks have been coming after me, and perhaps, just perhaps, this will finally give me a chance to put this whole Casterlieberung thing behind me and allow me to go on with my life, you know? Just perhaps. And, well, cultists are bad, right? I mean, maybe we can help people this way? I say, not being completely convinced.
What about you, Heinrich? It seems you're being recruited into his Imperial service. Although at the same time, you've also aided and abetted a cultist who's hiding upstairs currently. It sounds like they're going to be doing that for a good few hours yet, though, because it seems like you're staying in this inn for at least a few more hours. How are you feeling?
I'm alive. As best I know, we have reduced the number of groups hounding us by 1. And per my conversation with Siegfrieda, this lines up quite well with my interests. I get to survive. We were kind of hunting chaos cultists anyway. I'm filing this as a win.
And finally, Siegfrieda, perhaps your thoughts are just of fatigue. But still, you have one thing these people don't. Although, the second that person upstairs leaves, they can actually do whatever they want, really, and tell whoever they want all about you and what's happened here.
Certainly, they could. Right now, all I know that they know is what we've told them, which is little, other than the fact that we are not Castelliberung, we never have been Castelliberung, and Castelliberung is dead. So, I try not to look utterly tired and unmotivated, as this Imperial has me served food and drink. I try to look enthusiastic, but deep down I feel like I'm being swept along in another Imperial tide and just hoping I don't crash into some rocks.
It certainly has been a night, but at least it's coming to an end. Almost.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this third part of the series, we are tackling Power Behind the Throne. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Aegersonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, and Graham Barey for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Inti Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real. Except, well, who's going to believe you? Never mind.